Hello everyone and welcome to Gas 360. And today we're here for an unboxing of the Oppo F9 Pro.
Yep.
So I'm Aditya Shinoy and I have with me Roy. If you have any questions, go ahead, put it in the comment section and we'll try to answer most of them. So without waiting any further, let's go ahead
Yeah, let's
and
unbox it.
unbox it.
So this is Oppo's, I wouldn't say flagship, but
Yeah, it's pretty
it's
much
their flagship selfie-centric
phone.
smartphone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
in
I
the
think
F
the
series,
Find
basically.
X would be the
The
current
Find X would be
flagship.
the flagship. This is their flagship selfie smartphone.
So we have with us the F9 Pro and we've got it in this sunrise red color. So we're gonna go ahead and unbox it, see what's in the box.
Okay,
So
just show it to the
we've just got
audience.
the cover off and we've got a tiny box on top. Now this has the case for it and a SIM eject tool. I'm gonna keep that aside and let's get the Oppo phone out of the box.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah. So this is the Oppo F9 Pro.
Yeah.
Okay.
The red is very similar. Oh,
Wow.
it's a gradient
Yeah. So
color.
this
That's
is
interesting.
the Oppo F9 Pro, and the color variant is a sunrise red. Now, as you can see, I'll also get the other
Yeah.
sticker off, and it actually looks really nice.
It looks pretty nice. Yeah, the upper portion reminds me a lot of the F7, which came
Yeah,
in that
in the
solar
red.
red or
Yeah.
whatever name they called it. But the bottom portion, like everyone's, I think, after Huawei came up with that twilight shade, everyone's sort of, I think, jumping on that twilight color, which is good. It's nice to
Yes.
see some innovation in
And
colors. Yeah.
actually, before we started with this live, we were actually discussing. I was actually discussing this with Roy in that manufacturers have actually gone ahead and are trying out, different color
Yeah,
combinations
rather
like
than the same black and white and
black,
gray.
white, gold.
Yeah.
So this is uh, the one of the color variants on the Oppo F9 Pro. Now there are
Okay.
two other color variants as well. You have Starry Purple and Twilight Blue. Those two colors are also in a gradient style. So we'll boot it up, and I
Yeah.
guess we've already started having questions.
Yeah, we have a couple of them have come in. Amit Datta is asking what is the price of the phone.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Amit, the Oppo F9 Pro that I'm currently holding is priced at 23,990 rupees. Now there is an Oppo F9 as well. Now that is priced at 19,990 rupees.
But that's coming in later on.
Yeah, it's not
It's not
currently.
yet in the market. Currently, Oppo will just be selling the Pro version.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, one of the highlight of the Oppo F9 Pro is the teardrop design display.
Yeah.
Now, as you can see, this has a notch which is really tiny, and
It's kind of like the
essential
essential
phone.
phone,
Yeah.
but it's just like curved.
Yeah.
So like the teardrop design, as Oppo calls it.
So Oppo calls this the teardrop design,
Notch,
and
yeah.
it's like a tiny notch. It's like notch mini,
Yeah.
like
I
a
get
very
it.
very tiny notch.
Yeah, but I
Okay.
wonder what they managed to fit in that. Just the camera.
So currently in the notch you have the camera, and above it you have the earpiece, and yeah,
Oh, that's a really neat
neat
implementation of
of
the
the
earpiece.
earpiece,
Actually,
yeah.
it's right at the edge
Edge.
of the bezel.
So
Basically,
if you
you can.
see that, it's the earpiece that is towards the edge, and you have the selfie camera below it.
So I think a couple of viewers already are really digging the design and the color. Everyone seems to really like this dual shade. Praveen is asking the specs and the price. We'll get to the specs, Praveen, in a bit, but the price is 23,990 rupees for the Pro version, which is currently the only one that's launched in India. Javed Ahmad is asking what type of a display does it have?
So the Oppo F9 Pro has an LTPS TFT display.
So it's an LCD,
LCD
panel
display.
essentially.
Yeah, it's not
but-
a AMOLED
Okay.
panel for that matter. But yeah, it has an LTPS TFT display. And if you look at the back carefully, I'm not sure if it reflects off. You can see
Yeah,
a
on the
slight
diamond pattern?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see a diamond pattern on it. Now, Oppo has been doing this very often. You've seen it
Yeah.
on the Oppo F7 Diamond Black Edition.
Yeah,
And
but
then-
that was more of like a random pattern. This
yeah.
is more like a diamond shape
clear
pattern.
pattern.
But
Yeah.
it looks
So
neat
I'll go ahead, set the
nonetheless.
device up.
Yeah, should I just dig
Yeah,
into the
you
box
can
in
go
the
ahead.
meantime? Let's just see what else we got. I think we have a few other questions coming in. Let me just see what we got.
So going with the setup.
Battery capacity. Someone's asking
So
about battery capacity.
yeah. So I think battery capacity and charger is something that people are really curious
Yep,
about.
yep.
So the Oppo F9 Pro has a 3500 milliamp hour battery and it supports Woof charging. So VOOC fast charging, that is Oppo's standard for fast charging. And
Yeah, and
this,
in order for you to able to use that, you will need this special power adapter, and I'm guessing even the cable. I don't think a standard
yeah,
your
won't
micro
work
USB
it.
cable will probably work. But it's a little disappointing that it's micro
Micro USB,
USB.
yeah.
I mean, for 23,990, we would have
That's what
expected Type C at least.
That's what I noticed as well. So this has a
So yeah.
micro USB port at the bottom. Alongside it, you have the speaker grill and a 3.5 mm headphone jack. So you do get a headphone jack and you get
Oh,
headphones
there are
in the
headphones
box.
as well. Okay.
So you do get headphones in
Little
the box as well. Just go ahead.
Apple earpods looking headphones.
Yeah. So these are the headphones that you get in the box.
So a couple of more questions pouring in.
Yep.
Gangster Rajis is asking, can the Oppo F9 Pro beat the Mi Note 5 Pro?
Okay.
Redmi Note 5
Note
Pro, I
5
think
Pro
is
is
what he
what he's
meant.
asking.
Yeah,
Okay. So for that we need to dive into specifications. Now
So I think we've already had a question for
yeah.
specs, so might
So
as well. Yeah.
specifications wise, the phone has a Helio P60 processor. Now the Pro version has 6 GB of RAM and 128 GB of internal storage, whereas the F9 only has 4 GB of RAM with it.
Yeah, 4 GB of RAM and 6. So the storage is the same. The only difference between the Pro version and the non-Pro version is the RAM. So 4 GB versus 6 GB. But there's an oddly huge difference in price if you think
Yeah.
about it. If it's just RAM
2 more
difference,
GB of RAM. Yeah.
it's like 4,000 rupees
Yeah.
more, 4 or 5,000. That's quite a big jump actually.
Yeah. So that's a big jump. So that is what it's powered by a Helio P60 processor. Now we've seen the same processor in the Realme one
Yeah.
and the Oppo F7.
Yep.
So it's similar processor to what we've seen.
Yeah.
Now when it comes to performance with respect to the Redmi Note 5 Pro,
Yeah.
the Redmi Note 5 Pro has a Snapdragon 636 processor,
Right.
and you have 6 GB of RAM as well. So I'll quickly check the specs sheet as well.
Sure. Some
yeah.
of our viewers are asking for a closer look again of the phone, so I'll just point that out to the camera. There we go. This is the F9 Pro. And this is what it looks like on the front. Okay, hang on. Let me just go
Yeah.
to this quick setup.
So I've gone through the spec sheet and all, and the F7,
Yeah.
which had the similar processor, it scored a little higher than the Redmi Note 5 Pro.
Okay.
So it looks like now we'll have to test the Oppo F9 Pro to see
Right.
how well it does, but it may be able to beat the Redmi Note 5 Pro. We need to put it to our test. But
I mean,
yeah.
it better beat it. It does
It's-
cost a lot more.
Yeah.
So
it should be.
yeah.
So while you are setting it up, I'll go ahead, look at a few more questions.
Sure.
Okay, so now we've got people are asking now. Sunshine's asking, does it have a USB Type C port? So no, it
no.
has.
Unfortunately, it's a micro USB, which is a bummer. But yeah, it doesn't have a Type C port.
So the phone we have here is the Oppo F9 Pro. Now this has the Helio P60 processor, 6 GB of RAM, 64 GB of internal storage, and it is priced at 23,990 rupees. So what do you guys think about the phone? I think the color is something
I
interesting.
think the color is good. It feels pretty. It feels quite well built and well made, and the sides are definitely. I think feels like metal. I'm just worried about this paint sort of wearing out over time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I hope that doesn't happen, but that is something to look out for. And there's no case if you've noticed that the.
No, so there's one.
Is there a case? Oh yeah, there is.
So in the first box itself, you have.
So you do get a silicone case
with
in
it.
the box. Yeah.
So talking about other specifications, the phone has a dual camera setup at the back, and I think is it a dual LED flash? Okay, it's pretty much like a single LED flash.
Yeah, it's a single LED flash.
So you have a dual camera setup at the back, and at the front you have a single selfie camera. Now for those who are curious, the sensors at the back, now it has a 16 megapixel primary sensor and a 2 megapixel depth sensor, whereas on the front it has a 25 megapixel selfie camera. And we've already mentioned battery capacity. It is 3500 milliamp hour, and it does support VOOC fast charging. And for those curious, well, it is a 20-watt charger that you get in the box. Now it's similar to the
The dash
OnePlus dash
charging.
charging, and
Yeah.
also the charger looks a
Very
little too
similar as
similar.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sunshine is also asking, is there an IR emitter in the phone?
IR emitter, no, it does not look like it has an IR emitter on the phone. I think that is something we've seen most common on Xiaomi phones.
Yeah, so yeah, it doesn't have an IR
Yeah.
emitter. A couple of people are, I mean, they like the phone, but they're a little worried about the software support. Like I think Pasio is saying it's a nice product, but worse software support.
Well,
And
software support, it's really hard to say at the moment. Now, Oppo hasn't, it doesn't have the best track record for offering software
software
updates.
updates, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
So I get where
so
you're coming from. Pranit is also saying Helio processors are not trustworthy. Why would you say that, Pranit? I mean, I think we've seen the P60 especially, and the Helio P60 is a pretty good SoC. We've seen it in the F7
yeah.
previously, so it's not a
And even
bad.
the Realme one, like
Yeah,
it's a good performer.
yeah,
But it's just that we've seen manufacturers opting for Snapdragon processors. Even people in general, like earlier there were issues with MediaTek processors which kind of used to heat a
yeah,
little more than Snapdragon processors, and that is what has stuck on. Like the processors have gotten better,
yeah.
and at the moment it does not look like it'll be a problem
Yeah.
now that it's powered by a Helio
We have a few
processor.
other queries coming in about the display type and size.
Mhm. So the
So,
display is an LTPS TFT display. It's an LCD display, and it is 6.3 inches in size. So you have a 6.3-inch display, and this is probably a 19.5 is to 9
yeah.
aspect ratio.
Okay. Let's just go over the price again because we have a lot of price related questions.
Yeah.
So you wanna
So for
yeah.
those curious, this is the Oppo F9 Pro in Sunshine Red, and this has 6 GB of RAM and 64 GB of internal storage, and it's priced at 23,990 rupees.
Yeah.
Now you also have an Oppo F9 without the Pro badging that comes with 4 GB of RAM and 64 GB of internal storage, and that is priced at 19,990 rupees.
Yeah, but that will be available at a later
Later,
date, I
yeah,
think so. So we have a lot of comparison questions coming in, which is obvious. Like people want
yeah.
to know how this phone compares to similar offerings. So the first one is by Tech Opinion, and he's asking, is this better than the Honor Play?
Okay. So tech opinion. Now we need to test this phone out to comment about that. But when you look at the Honor Play, it has the Kirin 970 SoC, which is a flagship grade SoC. Now it's
Yeah.
been there on the Honor 8. It's been there on other Honor phones as well.
Yep.
Even the Huawei Nova 3 has the same
Nova 3,
processor.
even the P20 Pro.
Yeah. So it is a powerful processor, and the Helio P60, we need to test it out if to comment if it is capable of beating the Honor Play or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On another comparison question, which phone is better? Harish Babu is asking, is it the Nokia 6.1 Plus or this one basically?
Okay. So Harish, like to be honest, the Nokia, like both these phones have been launched today. So
Yeah.
the 6.1 Plus has a Snapdragon 636 processor. It's part of the Android One program. Now that is what I personally really like because
Yeah.
like it being a part of the Android One program, it gets security updates and probably
lot
software
quicker.
updates a
Yeah.
lot quicker.
Yeah.
The F9 Pro, on the other hand, is it's not a part of Android One, and it has a Helio P60 processor. Now, how both of these phones perform in benchmarks, we need to test that. But when it comes to pricing, the 6.1 Plus is priced at 16,000 rupees,
Yeah.
15,999, whereas the F9 Pro is at 23,990 rupees. So that's quite a huge difference. So
Yeah, like even if you go for if you look at the 4 GB version of the F9 basically,
Yeah.
which would come soon,
at 20,
20, even then the 6.1 Plus does seem
It's
like
still
a more
cheaper.
value for money,
Money.
offering, to be
Yeah.
honest.
so we'll have to test both these devices out.
Yeah.
I think they'll be fairly similar in
It
performance.
should be similar. I think it'll
Yeah.
all come down to your preference of the OS. Like if you
Yeah.
want stock Android, if you want the custom
Yeah.
color OS. I guess that would
It
be
all depends on personal
one
preference.
factor
Even
as well.
something
Yeah.
unique about the F9 Pro is the display and the design. Like at the front, it's got that teardrop design. Now
Yeah.
that is what you don't get with the 6.1 Plus. You have the regular notch. Now this kind of stands out, looks a little
Yeah, it's
unique.
one of the smaller notches that you'd find
Yeah.
on Android phones. So it
Yeah.
kind of looks interesting and unique,
Yeah,
I
and not
guess.
only from the front, even from the back,
Yeah,
the
even from
color
the back,
does
I
look
mean,
unique.
yeah, this little diamond pattern that you see, it's not really a texture, but it's just sort of a design that's done underneath the glass. So yeah,
Good.
so let's
Some
see,
more
do we
questions?
have, let me just have a look real quick. Have you gone over all the specifications? Have we left something out? I think the
No.
cameras,
So
we didn't talk about the
cameras, yeah. So
cameras.
cameras, we've gone over it once. We'll go over it again.
Yeah.
It has a dual camera setup at the back, which consists of a 16 megapixel primary sensor and a 2 megapixel depth sensor.
Hmm.
Whereas on the front, it only has a 25 megapixel selfie camera. Now there's no selfie flash. It'll probably use screen flash. You cannot see a selfie flash here, so it will use screen flash on it. It's powered by a Helio P60 processor. Has Now the Pro version has 6 GB of RAM and 64 GB of internal storage, whereas the F9 has 4 GB of RAM and 64 GB of internal storage. Now I'll quickly go ahead and pop the SIM tray open and see
Yeah.
the configuration that it has.
While you're doing that, we have a couple of more questions coming in. Bindas is asking, what's the best phone under 20,000?
Wow. So, what is the best phone under 20,000 rupees? Now, honestly, the last 2 weeks, we've seen a lot of launches. We've seen the
Yeah.
Xiaomi Mi A2, we've
Yeah.
seen Honor Play.
Yeah.
Now, we already knew that the Redmi Note 5 Pro was a good phone.
Yeah.
Now, you have the 6.1 Plus and you have the
Exactly.
F9.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I think we'll need some time to give you a concrete answer after testing all of these out, because
Yeah, because there are a bunch and
just by
you,
looking at the
yeah.
specifications, I don't think it will be fair to comment on which is the best phone to go for at this point. So yeah, I think Bindas will need to wait for a while.
Also, Keshav is asking, what is Woof Charging? We've gone over this again, so I'll just quickly. So Woof Charging is basically Oppo's technology for fast
Fast charging.
charging, or like quickly charging the battery. And for that, you will need this bundled special adapter that Oppo bundles with the F9 Pro, and even this cable, if I'm not mistaken. Because
Yeah.
if I remember a while ago, this the Whoop charging, it requires this high capacity, high voltage. I mean, cable that can handle that high amount of power. So you will need this cable as well for it to work. But unless that's changed, we'll get to know that once we
Yeah.
test the phone out. But
So
yeah.
I've gone ahead, and this is the SIM tray configuration on the F9 Pro.
Oh,
As
that's
you can
nice.
see-
A
yeah.
dedicated micro SD slot.
So you've
Interesting.
got two nano SIM slots and a dedicated micro SD card slot. So you will be able to use the expandable storage option with
Hmm.
the two SIM cards.
So Nikhil is asking, does it have a gyroscope?
Okay, so I think for that, Nikhil, I'll have to go
Or
ahead and
we can maybe just quickly
yeah,
see if they
check
have
if the spec
a.
sheet.
We are just gonna. We'll get back to you, Nikhil. Give us a minute.
Yeah,
Uh,
so okay, so
does
it
it
does have a gyro sensor,
Okay, so it
so
does have a.
a G
Oh,
sensor
is-
and acceleration sensor. So yeah.
okay. Keshav is asking, does it have Corning Gorilla Glass for the display?
Okay, so Keshav, I've gone through the display specifications and no, there's no mention of any sort of protection for the F9 Pro. We'll.
But we will, yeah, we'll confirm that with Oppo and maybe add that as a comment, or maybe you can check out our full review when we do
For
it.
that.
We'll definitely have an answer for you there. Harish Babu is once again asking, how is the battery performance on the F9 Pro because since it has a Helio P60?
Okay, so Harish, interesting question. Now, at the moment, we've just unboxed the phone, so it'll be really hard to comment on how good or how bad the battery life would be.
Yeah.
But the way I look at it is 3,500 milliamp hour. The battery capacity, like the size itself, is big enough.
It's a pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a
And
pretty good
apart from
size.
that, Whoop charging, so fast charging should be able to top it up quickly as well.
And it's not a very high resolution display, it's only
Yeah.
full HD plus, so I don't think it should drain it that
Much.
badly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Uh,
it again depends on what you'll be doing with the phone. If you
Exactly,
are a
yeah.
heavy user, yeah, you will
Yeah.
have different battery life. But Harish, I think you need to stay tuned for the full review, wherein we'll answer all your questions.
So I missed one question earlier actually
Okay.
from Uday. So he's asking, does the camera have any stabilization? Which is a good question.
Okay.
So maybe we can just pop open the camera and
yeah.
see the.
Go ahead, check in the camera settings if there's any mention.
So we're just taking a look at the camera, Harish. We just unboxed the phone for those of you who are just joining us. We've basically unboxed Oppo's latest selfie smartphone, their flagship in the selfie lineup. This is the latest one. It's the F9 Pro. The event just happened today in Mumbai, and we have the retail unit basically, and we've just unboxed it, and they're just going through the phone and setting it up. So we're just taking a look at some of the features right now for the first time. So bear with us if we don't have all the answers for you
Yeah.
right now. But interesting. I mean, yeah, stabilization at this price, I think should definitely be. I mean, should
It
be there. If
yeah.
it's not there, it would be disappointing. Quite disappointing
Yeah,
to
I'll
be
have to
very honest.
actually test it out
Yeah,
in
maybe we
order
can do a
to.
quick yeah and see what we have.
So yeah. Any other questions?
Another one is by Sibaram. Sorry if I'm
Okay.
pronouncing your name wrong. Is the back
Hmm.
is the back strong enough because of falling might break it? Is I think he meant would it crack? Is it glass? Is it a glass back? That's actually interesting. We've not really tested that. Or is this similar like
Yeah.
the F7?
F7. Yeah. It's very hard to kind of know. I'll just go through the
Yeah.
specifications if there's any mention of a glass
So
back on
it
it.
doesn't feel like glass. It's more of that fiber type of material that Oppo has used on the F7 as well. So it is most likely that itself. I highly doubt this is glass, but it doesn't feel like it.
Yep. So there's no mention
Yeah,
of any
there's
different.
no mention of that as well, but we
Yeah.
will clarify that again. Okay, so Harish Babu is also asking. Oh wait, we have another comment about can it play Fortnite?
Okay. So I think yeah, Legion of Pigs is asking us can it play Fortnite?
Yeah,
Now we've just unboxed the phone, but from what we remember about Fortnite is that it usually supports the Snapdragon 800 series of processors.
yeah.
So we're not it generally supports Snapdragon 821 and above. So we're not sure if this thing can support Fortnite, but we'll check it out. But I can see that this will support PUBG. So in case you are a PUBG player, this will support PUBG and you can play it.
Okay, Harish is also asking about screen on
Yeah.
time. How much of screen on time? Sorry, I was not.
So
Yeah.
Harish, honestly, it's very hard to say screen on time at the moment. We've just gone ahead and unboxed it,
Yep.
and even the on time on the device would not be more than 5 minutes. So it's really hard to talk about screen on time at the unboxing. You need to stay tuned for the full review, and we'll talk about how it performed in our battery loop test with heavy usage and different stuff. So you
Yeah,
need to
and
stay
he
tuned.
also has a follow-up question about
Mm-hmm.
face unlock and Harish. Yes, it does have face unlock. As you can see, there's an option to enroll your face, so it is present. Yeah. Tarun is asking, need a phone, but with so many launches, is getting bigger. And please help. I want a performance camera and high storage.
Okay. So
Interesting. Okay.
Tarun, it's confusing for us as well. There's too many launches
Yeah.
this week. So talking about like if you want camera performance and high storage,
I think you
you
should look at maybe the Zenfone 5Z
he's actually
series.
not specified a budget. So
Exactly. So,
yeah,
but I would say you. I mean, I'm guessing you don't want to go all out and
yeah.
like get like a Samsung S9 or something. So, if you're on a budget, I think Zenfone 5Z, OnePlus 6, and the very
If yeah,
underrated LG
LG
G7
G7
Think
thing, yeah, G7
is
Plus Think.
these are all three really really good phones. So, depending on what your budget is, I think you should really check these three phones out and just pick any one of them. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
let me just
So
say
let's quickly go
that.
with more questions.
Okay, Keshav is asking what's the GPU inside of this.
So
So
Keshav, this thing has a Mali G72 GPU.
yeah,
So a Mali G72 MP3 GPU that's clocked at 800 megahertz. So it's a Helio P60 processor with that GPU.
yeah.
So for those people who've just tuned in, this is the Oppo F9 Pro. It's priced at 23,990 rupees. If you have any questions, please put it in the comment section right now.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Aditya, what are your first impressions if I would just put you on the spot?
Yeah. So
What do you think about
honestly,
it?
about this phone, yeah, the teardrop display design
It does
that
look
is
neat,
something
right? I
unique.
mean,
Yeah.
it's not. I don't
Like
know.
it's like a compromise. Like if you want a full screen display, but you
Yeah,
don't
but
want the
you don't want
notch.
the
Notch.
notch.
So
So,
it's like, you know, okay, you can.
and there are many, I think many people who do not like the notch.
Yes.
So for those who want like the
Bare
smallest
minimum.
notch,
Yeah.
I
Without
think
losing functionality or anything.
without
Like what
losing.
we've
So
seen is like the Vivo Nex S to get
yeah,
rid of the notch.
yeah,
You don't have the regular earpiece, and you have something that uses bone conduction, and it isn't very good when
yeah.
it
I
comes
mean,
to
there's
taking
there's
calls
no
and
real
stuff.
replacement
Yeah.
for an actual physical earpiece.
Yeah,
So
so you know this looks like a perfect balance between this. Or else you can go for the Oppo Find X, which is
yeah,
yeah, it's a all
but then
display.
you also need to like more than double your
Yeah.
budget. Yeah.
So yeah, and apart from this, the color option is something that really
Yeah, I think
was
that is
really
probably
interesting.
what will also attract a lot of buyers more than just the specs
Yeah.
and the design. I think it's the color because some people want an aesthetically good looking
Phone.
phone more than anything
Anything
else.
else? Yeah.
So it's nice to see Oppo sort of
Doing
catering
it. Yeah.
to different segments of
Yeah,
the
but
market.
this
Yeah.
is a bit of a fingerprint magnet. So you
Yeah.
get a case in the box. So if you go ahead with the Oppo F9 Pro, this is what you need to do.
So I
Keep
think
it safe.
that's we aren't getting many questions. Maybe we should just quickly go through the main specs, pricing, and then we can maybe sort of wrap up.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is the Oppo F9 Pro. This was launched in India today, and this is powered by a Helio P60 processor, and it has a 3500 milliampere battery and has support for Oppo's VOOC fast charging. Now this is, and it does get a 20-watt charger in the box. Apart from that, it has a dual camera setup at the back consisting of a 16 megapixel primary sensor and a 2 megapixel secondary depth sensor, whereas at the front you have a 25 megapixel selfie camera. Now it does have a micro USB port at the bottom and a 3.5 mm jack. Now we honestly would have really liked a
Yeah, at
USB Type
this
C
price,
port.
I think, and in this day and age, we would have definitely expected a Type C port. So
So that's about it. And you know, talking about display size, it is a 6.3-inch display, and this is an LCD display, like LTPS TFT display.
yeah. So I think before we wrap up, maybe one quick question from Advait, who's asking, does the AirDrop notch look better than a regular notch?
Well, I think this is again a question on looks.
Yeah.
It's completely subjective. What do you think?
I think it looks neat. I don't personally hate the notch, but this is definitely an interesting take on the notch, and it looks nice. I don't what I like is there is quite a bit of thick bezel at the bottom of the phone, like a thick chin.
Chin. Yeah.
But other than that, it looks nice. I mean, it's
So,
not bad.
you know, the other way, the teardrop design on the Oppo F9 Pro, one advantage it has is that since it's smaller, you have bigger segments of display on either side, which can, you know, reveal more information like pending notifications,
True.
time, date,
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Apart from that, there's no real use of it. You just get more display, and that's about it. If you like it, yeah, go with it. I think this will be better because even when you're watching some content using full display,
Right.
there's less obstruction there.
That's true. Yeah.
So yeah.
So I guess we could wrap up. Yeah.
Yep.
So this was basically an unboxing and a quick first look at the Oppo F9 Pro. This is the flagship in Oppo's selfie series of smartphones. And we'll be bringing you a full review of this obviously very soon, so stay tuned for that. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in. For all those who dropped in their questions, if you have any more queries, do send them in, and we try our best to get them answered as quickly as possible. So, thanks, guys, and cheers.